Very good Monday morning to all of you traders. This is the London session. We're trading. We're on YouTube Live, so you guys can join us if you see it, of course, and there will be a group of traders joining us from Discord. I send invitation to them. Hopefully they get it and they all turn out, and we'll see how it goes. We're already in this Euro trade from our trading room this morning in the Asian session. If you're watching this for the first time, you don't know who I am. My name is Anilmangal. Wave trading, a method I created, so you can go and check more of my videos on that, and you will see how to get it. We do this live 5 times a day. We finish, this is the second session for the day, actually. And normally it will be the third because some of my traders will be in the room earlier, but it's Monday morning, so, we're looking at this trade to come here and the possibility of it breaking out. Now, there is a chance we will retest the top within this consolidation, but that will give us enough to get out of the trade for profit or break even. So we'll see how that trade goes. That is the only trade we're in right now. So let's go. I'm going to go through very quick all the majors. I'm going to do some of the cryptos. I'll tell you about our room if you want. By the way, I should let you know that if you want to join us live every day for the next 2 months for a symbolic fee of $100, which will go towards paying for the course that we have. So if you would like to take the trading course, but you don't have the capital to pay for it in one payment and get lifetime access, but you can pay installments. You can start with $100. We will give you 2 months access to 2 sessions a day. This London session, a session in New York, which is about 7:45 New York time. We start a session there, 1 hour session. And you will have 2 months to make the decision. You want to continue or you don't want to continue, right? Pretty simple. That's a fair offer. It's less than a coffee a day. So if you would like to have the details of everything, which is all these charts you see here, we do. We do most of them, and the rest of the bottom are charts that traders will selectively do for themselves, right? So somebody will ask for coffee and we'll do it for him. So with that said, let's start. Dollar index, consolidating, upside, confirming upside movement. You can literally see that this is confirming an upside movement with about 95% guarantee. Now, again, let me stress this 95% guarantee. That doesn't mean you go all in. You still follow the rules of trading. This is me telling you that 95% of the chances that this is going to go up. That's the probability game. Now, that means you have a favorable reason to buy dollar from the bottom of that flag, right? That is all it means. It doesn't mean you have to go 95% in. You follow your money management rules to take it as a single trade. Now, if dollar goes up, you can take a single trade in euro, pound, you can go and spread your trades out. You still should follow your money management rules to do that. So the percentage of the probability of the trade on the analysis should not reflect what you do in your trading. Your trading has to follow your strategy. That's for my good friend who wanted to go 100% in and who said I should go 100% in, and what was it? I think with XRP when I told him it's going to drop. Well, I hope he's listening because it dropped. We said it's going to come back a little up here and then it's going to drop, and it dropped. And it's going to continue to drop, by the way. This is especially for you so that you understand how wave analysis works and that it's actually worked. Come back to the dollar index. What we're looking for is a buy setup. Remember, we're already in the euro sell. That means every time we get a flag here, we'll take the trade to the upside. Every time it comes back to this low, if it goes to the top and come back to the low, it makes another flag to the upside, we will buy. It goes to the top, come back to the low, make another flag here, we'll buy. Now, it doesn't mean we don't understand what's happening there. We're tracking the patterns, trying to see which is the complete pattern. But remember, because it's complex, you can have more than one complete pattern in there before you eventually go up. That doesn't stop us from trading. So silver, if that is going up, silver should go down, but silver is going down, but you can see that it's in a kind of a channel here. So there's a chance silver could do this before it goes down. If you want to sell silver, the best place is to sell it from the top of the channel, not the bottom of the channel. If it is going to be a sell, which means this is going to totally drop, then let it drop out of the channel and then look for your trade setup. Gold, we wanted to come back up a little and then go for the sell too, because there's a sharp move here. I want us to either do this, go back to the top there, complete this flat, and then we will be selling it. We do have a sharp wave here. And there are two ways to look at that. We either put the sharp wave with something at the back, or we put it with something in the future. Either way, this is a good trade. Come back here and then drop. So all of this will depend on how much time the dollar index is going to go up and down before it breaks out. And that means this, you can notice they're going up, down, up, down, up, down. These were all trade setups. So from last week, we were selling, and then we stopped the selling, and then we looked at this. Let's see what this is doing. There was a sell setup here last week. There's a small trade. I think traders are out for break even on that trade, and then we'll see what happens here now. We were also considering whether this could be a running flat. I think we will negate that running flat because it came back to the bottom, which means you're looking for a flat here. Let it make this flat, and then we're going to go with this straight to the downside. There's a good chance it could drop. We'll decide whether this goes here or whether it goes with something in the future after we get into that trade. Euro, we're already in this trade in the 15 minutes this morning from the trading room. It's going good for the second hour. Second hour is pretty good, so I think we'll wait to see if we break out of this low. If not, we'll give it a third hour and then make the decision on it, right? It's going, it's slowly. We're still in the consolidation. All trades that you want to get from a very good point will be getting it from the consolidation. All right, let me start this again. Every single trade that you want to get from the top of that impulse going down will be at the top of the consolidation. So you will have to take a risk. You might end up taking a small loss in some of them. You might end up even losing some of them. You might end up getting break even because that is not the top. If you thought this one was going to be the top, or this one was going to be the top, or this one was going to be, or this one, you don't know. It could still come here and go right back up. It might even stop here and go higher and then come down. You will still sell the top of the consolidation because that's the best entry you can get, selling the top of the consolidation to see if this is going to be this impulse that breaks down. Now, let's see. Remember, this is top of not only this consolidation, this is the top of not only this move here, this is top of a bigger move down, right, from the bottom here. So if we're coming for this big move, then there could be a lot of trades going down, not one single trade, but a lot of trades. So we have an hour more to decide on this trade. So far, so good. It's going. No need to worry about it. Pang. Pang, we didn't have a flag, but if we get a flag, this was last week's sell on the Pang. I'll take that off. That's a good trade. That's from the trading room. And next thing we're doing is waiting for a flag here. See, we took this after we got a flag. Well, let's get another flag here, and then we're going to take this to come and break the low. Now, the problem with this is that it still looks like we can come and break this top. We haven't broken the top. And I'm not going with a contracting flat as yet for downside. So we're within this bigger consolidation. I probably can show you. And there's a high probability that this is going to come back to the bottom. Now, remember this one, it had a really huge flat right at the top there and then drop. So I believe this should break this top before they go. Now, I'm not sure it will. If this is coming down and we get a flag, we'll sell it first to come back to this level. And then if they break out, good for us. If that doesn't break out, then there's a chance that when we get the flag here and we sell it, it comes to the bottom here and go back to the top there and then drop. No problem. We'll get out of that trade and we'll take the trade from here. We might even buy it. See this one? You had a flag. There was a flag there. There's a flag here. There's a flag here. It broke the low. It went up, came down, and that's a trade. So we're expecting a similar flat here and then go. It doesn't have to be so, but we'll follow it. We'll track it. We'll see how it develops, and we're looking for that trade. Now, the probability of that trade going is very, very high now. And there's a reason for that, right? I keep telling you from last week that I don't think this is all the consolidation. It doesn't fit in any way. So this trade is good. If we're wrong about the trade, so then if we're wrong about it, what are the next possibilities? The next possibility is that this still makes a flat, still come and breaks this low. But instead of going all the way to the bottom, stops here and then start going up. And this here becomes a bigger correction in the up move. This was all your correction. And then upside. Well, I'm wrong about it. We'll figure out. This cannot be all the correction. So we'll figure out how to put that correction using this. That's a whole different story. Right now, I don't see any other possibility. We'll come back to that if it happens. So I believe this has a 90% chance of coming down. We'll take the trade and see. Now that we know the dollar index almost has a 95% chance of upside, this is looking really good now, right? With the dollar index going up, this looks really good. That, oh yeah, well, this could happen. So let's see. Aussie, wait for a flag sale. Be careful. We saw this morning. We were late for it. If you were in the Asian session and you got in early, great. It was already here, so there's no point jumping in. And there's this sharp move here still. So expect one more there, get a running flat, and that would be a perfect sell setup. If not, take a flag. Either we get a flag or we get a sharp move. We're looking for a sell setup. Now, Aussie is definitely downside. I think since last week, if you watched my last week webinar, you would know that Aussie is definitely downside. I told you we'd be selling the Aussie. Go back, watch the webinar, last week webinar. The only setup I had there was the Aussie trade for a sell. So if you took the sell from the top here, you did great. Right? If you got it from the very top of here, that means you understand what I'm telling you. That was a really good sell setup. If you didn't, then wait for the next possible sell setup. Now, as you come to the low, you'd have to be careful, right? Because when they come to the low, they'll tell us, are we going to go back up for one more? And the possibility of this coming here, tagging you here, and then going back up there is pretty high. This could be a flat. Dollar index could go up, come down back, go back up, right? So if that happens, this is going to go back to the top. It's still downside. So if you're going to take a trade in this range, you have to manage it carefully, which means you would have to manage to get out of that trade. Because if you don't, it can tag you at the bottom here and then go right back. Well, you will get out of the trade, but you'll take a loss at least on a single trade, which you shouldn't do because you'll have a higher probability of getting out of that trade for positive. So if it goes back up here and then we get this sell, that would be amazing. And I expect them to do that. I expect them to do this, make a running flat here. We'll try to get it trade here and come down to the bottom. And then we're going to see. If you would like to watch us take these trades again, join us live. You have that opportunity. Don't miss it. So what we're going to look for is what happens here. We're selling, but it would be better for us to sell from the top and watch it drop really fast. We sold from the top. This was a sell setup here for most of us. That trade there, because we thought it would drop to the bottom. It didn't. This was a sell. That didn't drop to the bottom. Some traders got that sell. You have to be there to get that sell. Sometimes you're not there when the setup happens, like this morning. We're not here when this broke, but probably we would be in the trade and be at break even now. Same with the New Zealand. It's going down. You'd have to wait. I put this top so that we can see where the top is. That's not a buy setup. That's a top to show you that if this goes back and we want it to go back up like this, complete that flat, and then look for the trade. See, this one came down, go back up, complete the flat, look for the trade. That's what we're expecting, because the minute you go here, you'll probably get tagged and watch it pull back. So if you're taking the trade hoping it's going to be a long drawn out running flat, your stop has to be here. If we get this impulse and then we get a sell setup, we get a better risk to reward trade. I think we can wait for that. New Zealand also have one more problem. Well, not problems, one more risky factor you have to look at. That is this impulse here. So that this could finish this one, come here, go back there, and then drop. That makes the Aussie up move very possible. That makes this Aussie looks like a flat now. When you think of that happening, then you're thinking, well, this could probably go back to the top, and this would just be a flat. So the trade at the bottom here carries a risk that you have to know about, which means that doesn't mean you don't take the trade. That means when you take the trade, you manage it accordingly. You start saying, okay, well, if it is going to do that, this is how I'm going to manage the trade. If you don't have strategies that allow you to do that, then you shouldn't take the trade, right? You must have strategies that allow you to understand that if this pattern doesn't play out the way you expect it to play out, this is how I'm going to exit it, right? You must have an exit strategy. If you don't, you're setting yourself up for failure. And your exit strategy doesn't always have to be your stop loss. Your stop loss is the last instant of your exit strategy. Your stop loss is saying, well, all hell broke loose, and I couldn't do anything. I'll take the stop loss, right? That means it tagged you and it went back really fast, or it tagged you and it dropped really fast, get to your stop loss, nothing you could have done, take the stop. You agreed to that. But most times you can get out of a trade much earlier if it's not going your way. And that's your job as a trader, basically. So if you think of investors, don't think of Warren Buffett seeing that something is going to happen to some of the stocks he holds. He's going to say, well, let's see, the company's going to go bankrupt. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to wait. Bankruptcy is the end of it. The bankruptcy, that's my stop loss. He wouldn't say that, right? He's not using a stop loss, but bankruptcy is his stop loss in any stock he's holding. But he's not going to wait for that to happen. He sees any sign that this thing is not going to go well, he's going to bail out really quick. And all investors do that. Some might not catch the sign. There's a collapse in the market, and then they go, oh my God, the market just crashed. Well, the market just crashed because they think it just crashed. The preparation for that crash was a year or two when they weren't looking for the signs. If they were looking, they would have seen the signs a couple of years earlier before that crash came and said, you know what, time for me to bail out. And a lot of investors do see that sign. And they do say, hey, you guys be careful, there's a crash coming. Nobody believed them until it happens. So the same thing here, because they're looking at the market structure than just the fundamental news. And they're saying, because there's a lot of things happening here now, we've got to be careful. So the same thing we do, except on a micro scale. And we use the chart to tell us that at this point, this could happen. And that means if it is going to happen, you have to manage your way out of that trade. If it doesn't happen, you're in a good trade. You don't have to worry. Yeah. Looks like we're going to get one more up. We're still looking for this move down, which means we're still in a correction. But now we know dollar index is going to go up more. And we look at a pattern here and we said, you know what, this looks upside. So this is at least one more up, right? It could come back down here and then go back up, which means dollar index might go back one more down and go back up. We don't know that for a fact. This thing could work its way up all the way here, and then we get this somewhere in this place, and we'll have a perfect running flat for upside. And that means it will continue to go up. Structurally, those are the ways this can behave. So we're looking for a buy setup, but we're looking for one trade at a time, which means this is just going to be one trade to the upside, break this top, and then probably come back. See this one? That was one trade to the upside. Originally, we were looking for this to drop. And then once we saw that this is a buy setup, we went for that buy. This was a sell. This was a buy. That was a sell for the downside. This was a buy for the upside. We're going to be looking for a buy today to the upside. And if we see the turning point, we'll be selling it. Now, the sell might just come back to the bottom here again. We will take the buy again back to the top, and we'll look for the sell. One of this is going to drop. Right, and if it keeps working its way up, one of them is going to spike out of the structure. So we're looking for both the buys and the sells. CAD. Okay, CAD messed with us a little. We were expecting it to break the low and then go back up. It didn't, and it's going back up. So I would make the assumption now that we've actually reversed the last impulse, that we're totally going up, which means any correction we get here, and probably a correction, not just a flag. A flag would be short-term trade. A correction for give us the longer-term trade to the top. Now, this is confirming dollar index is going to break out. All we need is a correction here, and that would be a perfect buy setup to the top. If you get a flag, take it with as one impulse up. Right? Take the flag as a one single move up, take your profit out, wait for a correction. That correction will be the confirmation of total upside. And total upside would mean we're stuck with a contracting flat, nothing you can do, we're going to break the top. So there's a lot to the upside. Swiss, still going down. Still, we have this move and we're not getting it. So this is one of those long, drawn out, extended running flats. We'll get it. Not as yet, not this one, definitely. This could become a flat of its own. Right? This could still come back here, drop, come back here, drop, do this, make a flat, and then drop, and then give us this one. We'll eventually get it the far away. So right now, I don't think we have any trade set up here. Even if you get any, it's not, you're in the middle of nowhere. You're in the middle of one move up and one move down. So we leave that. They're better trade setups. Euros to the top. Now, if this is all the correction, and I don't think that is all the correction, I think we're getting an expanding flat in the middle of a possible running flat, because this is the most corrective part. So I doubt that. I doubt, that this is going up here, but they broke the top, and nothing is wrong with breaking the top. We know they break the top. And they're getting this kind of ending diagonal structure there, which is a squeeze. I will call it more than an ending diagonal, because structurally it doesn't look like an ending diagonal. So we look for an impulse, we look for a 5, and we'll expect one more here for a running flat. Probably the running flat with this one. This would be like a 1, 2, 3. This would be an expanding flat in the middle, and then go. So I think that is possible. If I'm wrong about that, and this is all the correction, then what we need here is a bigger correction here before you actually go. So the bigger correction will be a sell setup. The first impulse down is going to be a sell setup. And considering the way this thing go back deep, right? None of the moves, none of the pullback are shallow. They're all deep pullback. Take this one, for example, very deep pullback. This was a deep pullback. This was a deep pullback. So this pullback could be pretty deep into here before they go. So the sell setup is what we're looking for from the top. What would change that sell into buy? Well, if they consolidate here for a very long time. So instead of giving us a flag, they just come down and go back up and stay here for a while, well, then we'll consider a buy. As of now, I think we're coming back. All right, so we're coming back here, and then we're going to go up. Let's see if we get a sell set up. Go to the 15. Let's see if we can get a flag there on the 15 for a sell. Nothing as yet, but let it come. Let this drop out of the structure. Make a flag here, and then we confirm the sell. So we're looking for a sell setup here. You can put the sell setup here already. Let's see this one, Euro CAD. We're looking for a sell setup. We expect this to go down one more. This is the biggest structure of it. I expect this to drop one more. Can it go break the top just like the Euro was? Possible. This is a more, this is a more structured one in terms of the pattern. So yeah, we'll look for a sell setup here. Can it make a deep correction and continue to go up? Possible, because this expanding flat could change to something more, more complex. But we're looking for a sell setup, which means you need a sell setup from the top there. We don't have it. Wait for the flag. If you don't wait for the flag, you'll be tagged in this one, in this one, in this one, in this one. None of them had flags for downside. Wait for the flags. As a matter of fact, some of them were buy setups, at least until we break that top. And then from there, you got to be careful. Can this become a running flat for one more up? Absolutely. There are many options to put that as a running flat, especially with this, right? So it can come here and go back up one more. If you want to buy it, you'll have to know the risk. This is the top of the first impulse. So yes, you can go with a buy here, but you just have to be aware of that risk. The sell would be the better option. Drop, make a flag, go for the sell. Euro New Zealand actually is upside because we're confirming this is running flat here. I think this definitely looks like a running flat, so this will probably drop here, sharp, go back up. If it starts to make flag, we'll go with the downside. But if it decides to go back up, break the top again, and then we look for the trade. I wouldn't be, unless we get a really good flag, I wouldn't be selling this as yet. Although I think one more move to the downside for this one is possible, or for the bigger one, or totally drop through that whole pattern. Right? There's so many. You have this one here, that small one first to finish, and then you have this bigger one to the downside. Right now, you're in a smaller one. You're in this smaller one here. So the sell setup is not there as yet. I think we need to complete this smaller one here. Go back, break the top, come back for this one. Finish this running flat, go back, break the top, and then probably drop. So if you get a sell setup here, I'll probably be careful. But if it makes a flag here, we're coming for the bigger one and we'll take the trade. So let's see which one comes. Euro yen. Okay, it's kind of coming down, but it's way back at the top. So I think we'll just leave it. So it's either going to make a flat here and then go, or it's going to just make a flat here and go to break the top. Do we have a buy setup in it? You can go for an expanding flat. Nothing's wrong with this. You can make an assumption that this is an expanding flat. Go for the trade to the upside. One more trade. Break this top here. Definitely break that top. That is all you need to do. Break that up and then we can turn. Right? Or even break both of them. That's it. The next one is a daily top. Right? Break both of them and then turn to the downside. I think we can agree that when we break that up, we're coming down. You should see a lot of divergence here. Starting with this point, you see divergence, and then you get it all in here. So yes, breaking that up means, I think this is the 4-hour divergence, yes. And then you will see 60 minutes divergence. So I think it's worth it. Look for the sell setup once we break that up. Getting the trade to the upside of one more trade, maybe. Not sure about it, but we can go with it. And let's see. Euro Swiss. There is a sell setup. This wick is not valid in the other charts. It's only valid in the FXCM charts. And the other charts, it doesn't exist. So yes, this could be a sell setup. You're looking for one drop like that. And then we're expecting to break this low. Probably it will make another flag, drop, make another flag, drop. Once we break that low, we'll be looking for upside. There is this sharp wave here, but it's kind of a 3-wave structure. So I don't know if we'll go with it. It's kind of 1, 2, 3. You can make an argument that that is a flat by itself. So not necessarily we will get that. We'll just watch this drop to the bottom here. So that's a good sell setup, and it's an active trade right now. You can put that into an active sell. Euro pound. Stay away from this for now. This will probably be a flat here because it came all the way to the top but didn't break the top. If it breaks the top and gives us a flag, we'll sell it. Right? If it makes a flat here, it might go back and break this top. We'll figure that out. I don't see how they do that with this deep pullback, but it's possible. So we'll just stay away from this for now and wait until we get a good setup. I think this has to drop. Even if we're going to go up more on the pound Aus, this needs to come back here and then go, completing this flat pattern. I don't think the contracting flat is what we have there. So I will go with them coming back one more down and then go. Right? The mere fact that they broke the top doesn't mean anything very much. Let's see if we can get a trade to the downside. We don't have any trade there right now. And there's this sharp wave. So there's a chance that they can still come here, go back up one more and then come. What we'll do is we'll wait to see whether we get any flag on the way down. Any flag will sell to come back here, break this low, and then go back up. Right now that they've gone so high into that, it could be a flat for one more. But this is a good trade. I think we could go with that. Let's see if we get a flag somewhere. Wait for a flag somewhere in the way down, and then we'll look for a trade. Pound yen. This looks upside. Right now it looks upside. We were looking for this, and I think we could agree that it's probably finished here. If we're going to take this trade here now, you want to be careful. This morning it wasn't so deep. It's a little deeper now. So I think they'll probably make a bigger one here and then go. This is a small one of its own. I thought we were getting another small one here this morning. That would have been a good trade. But now that it's so deep, you want to pull that. You can still keep it, but you got to keep a stop way at the bottom here. You can pull that and wait for this to make a flat. Most likely it's going to make something like this. See this, when this was deep, it ended up making a flat. So this should end up making a flat somewhere like this. Come back here, give you that flat, and that should be a good trade to the upside. If we get it, we can take the trade to the upside. So take this off. This would be more of waiting for a setup. Pound CAD, we expect this to come down one more. Again, it depends on how you look at this structure. I definitely believe this thing is going to come back here and then go to complete this flat. But it could be that this is a contracting flat in here. And this is 1, 3. All right, 1, 2, 3. If that is the case, then this will just continue to go. Wait to see whether you get a flat here. Only then it becomes a good buy. I don't see that as a contracting flat. So I see this as a 1, 2, 3. I mean, this one even. More like this. We could put it with this one, yes. More like this. With a flat 1, 2, 3, and that means that this should come back down as an expanding flat in the middle. Let's see. Right now, we don't have a setup because it's coming really slow. I think we got to be careful. You want it to drop, you want it to make a flag, and then that would be a good sell. That would be more control. We can get that first sell. Pound Swiss. It's going down. We're at the bottom. So Pound CAD is at the top, Pound Oz at the top, but Pound Swiss is at the bottom. So if you want a Pound trade, focus on a Pound trade for the upside. Watch this trade. There's some more downside here. But once that is completed, this one is going to totally take off. So go to the 1 hour. We're looking for a sell setup to break this low. I don't think this is the one that's going to drop, but I think that is forming some kind of a flat. So probably come here. Maybe start doing some consolidation, go back up, give us a flat here, and that would be a good sell setup. If it makes a flag, you can assume it's going to be if it makes a flag here, you can assume that you're getting a long drawn running flat. Go with this trade, expect that one up, so get that to break even. Look for a sell again from the top. Let's see, it depends on what it does here. It's one more to break this low. Once that low is broken, and how far deep it goes relative, you don't know. Right, but it's probably going to go a little lower, and then from there we start looking for the buy setups. If you can get this trade, wait for it to break the low and focus on the buy setup, because you can see this is pretty easy. This is mostly for the YouTube traders who are not going to be with us, but if you want to make sure you don't miss this move, you can join us. Right, and you will see how we actually trade that up, because we're laser focused on this thing at the bottom there now for the buy setup, which means we will get a number of trades to the upside. Pound New Zealand. Okay, this one is both ways possible. You can make an argument for this being all the correction, we're totally going up, but you can also make an argument for them to come back here and then go up. Now, this is really, really, really corrective. So I wouldn't bet on this coming back deep. We could possibly get a deeper correction here and then continue to go. So we'll see. At the top there, do we have a buy setup? You do have a buy setup right now. This was a buy setup here. That didn't go very far. I don't think this will go very far. That's a buy setup. I don't think it will go very far. Now, the only way that becomes a sell with this being a top and that being a huge flat at the top there, which might be rare, I don't think it's going to happen, is if this comes lower and make a flag. So this has to come, well, literally where it is now, it's under the lows. So if it turns out that you get a flag here, that could be a sell setup. Wait for the flag. If it doesn't give a flag, like this one, no flag, upside, no flag, upside. No flag, upside. The flag was to the upside. Right? I think this one we bought. That one was a flag to the upside. We bought that. Literally wait for a flag to the upside. An entry above the top is a good idea. You're not going to get a flag to the upside. But if it starts to go down, it will make a flag. Aussie Swiss. We're close to the bottom. And well, not the bottom. We actually broke the bottom a long time. We're waiting for this possibility because you have a big flat here. It has a second big flat here. For you to sell this now, you need a correction. You need it to make a correction like this. So it has to make a correction like that. And only then we get a sell setup. For the buy, you just need an impulse and a flag and you're coming back to the top. Not in a single move, but we will try to trade it to the upside. So any impulse and flag to the upside will take the trade. For the sell, it's going to be tomorrow. You wouldn't even get a sell set up until tomorrow. It needs 2-3 days consolidation. Aussie CAD. Okay, so we're at the top of this whole thing, this whole big sideways thing. We broke out a little, we came back in, and they're making a flat here. At least one more impulse though. And if we're lucky, that comes all the way to the bottom. Now, where would we put this piece if that happens? Either a future flat we are finding, a future correction. All right, we're looking for a future big correction or something in the past. I don't see anything in the past because this one broke the low. So I don't think this is part of the correction. I don't know. Can we look at this as a possible bigger, sorry. Can we look at this as possible bigger correction if that happens? With this being the bigger flat like that? I don't see anything for this one inside. So when that time comes, we will look at maybe it's going to make its own flat. This is the first impulse of a bigger correction in here because there's a flat forming there already. So we'll go with the sell. Come here, wait for it to go back up and go with the sell. Let this pull back up to the top here, make a flat, and we're going with that sell. We'll see how deep it goes. If it's just a flat for upside, we'll get out for break even. Aussie yen, wait for a pullback, one more downside. So this morning we saw this and I was like, either put it under the low or wait for them to pull back. They're pulling back right now. So we want this pullback to go somewhere here. This is the second Aussie pair you want, the third Aussie pair you want to pull back, and then you want that. The Aussie dollar, the Aussie yen, the Aussie Swiss. You know which one is the best? Aussie CAD, sorry. You know which one is the best one for me, the Aussie CAD or the Aussie yen? Because these are coming from the top here, from a very top to drop. So one more impulse here like this one is pretty much the trade we're looking for, and then upside. Aussie CAD is coming from the very top of this whole thing, right? It actually made a new high than this. So this might be a better sell as well. Aussie and Aussie CAD. Aussie dollar is at the bottom of the structure. Remember that it's at the bottom of the 4-hour structure. So you really don't have a big advantage in that. And Aussie dollar is going up right now as we spoke, right? Just so you see the power wave analysis. Remember what I said, we're looking for one more up and then we're going to be looking for the sell. If you're watching this, the magic happened. Go back to the start of the video and then come back at the end of the video and watch it here and you're like, okay, I can see how they think this is going to go back up. Right? If you didn't think it was going to go back up, you're literally watching it happen now. You don't have to wait long for that to prove itself. And that's why when we see these patterns, we always said, you know, wait for this because the probability of that happening is really, really high. Now, if you're not a wave trader, you probably look at that as magic. For us, that's normal. That's how it behaves. So let's go back to the Aussie pairs where we were. We're in the Aussie what? Aussie yen, we did Aussie CAD, we did the Aussie yen as well. New Zealand yen. Big picture, this should go up because literally we're in a flat pattern here. See this? That looks like a flat. So we're looking for a buy setup. We wanted this to come back. It doesn't have to come back. This one could come back. You could actually take this trade. It's a big flat inside of this one. This has its own flat here, right? And then drop. It's a big flat inside. There's a good chance it could become a running flat somewhere in the future. I think the trade is worth taking. We don't know if it becomes a long drawn out running flat or literally take off. If it doesn't go anywhere, you can get out for break even, use your stop under the low. So last week, I think Friday, somebody asked me this question, whether we should look for a sell or a buy here. And I said, well, it looks both ways, either a running flat or a channel. And if it's a channel, you put an entry order above the top here for this trade. If it's a running flat, you wait for it to break the low and then make a flag, and then you sell it outside of that channel. Well, proves it is a ending channel for upside. So it's not a running flat. I don't remember who asked me, but good, at least you see how we trade it. So you put an entry here, you wait for that trade. If you didn't close it here, you close it somewhere here, or you close it somewhere here, take that profit off. Right? Because when you put an entry there, your stop is under this one. So the trade turned out to be a good one. I think this is a good trade right now. We can put an entry order here. It's an aggressive trade, by the way. For my traders, that's a very aggressive trade because this flat is inside of this. Never like when that happened. We're always thinking running flat or regular flat. So you have to be aware that even if you get tagged here, they'll probably just do this and come back. Try to get out for break even because it's coming back to this low to make another one up. Now, if this is all the correction, like 1, 2, 3, then this might go further. I still don't like the reason for that deep pullback within that. You know, every time we get that, we said, okay, this is not good. New Zealand CAD looks sideways, stay away from it. It's literally should go up from here, but it's not going up. So we'll probably get one more downside before they go. On the big picture, this is the structure. So we thought that after we broke that low, this could take off. That was a good flag to take off. It did go, it come back. I don't know why, we're still here. Well, that means by rule, there isn't enough momentum to push it up. There isn't even orders coming in. We'll probably stay here. We'll come here. We might even retest that top, drop one more, complete a big flat here, drop one more, and then go. So if the buy orders are not coming in now, it will consolidate until the sell orders drop it a little more, which means all the sells are out. Find the buy somewhere lower and then go up. The orders, so the buys will be much lower. New Zealand Swiss. Okay, you can get one more sell here, definitely. There's an up move to come, but we're going to get one more sell. This is a good trade, by the way. Running flat, sell. So wait for it to go back up. This was a good sell last week. Give you some profit. Put an entry here. Let this go back up first. Then, sorry, then go for the sell. Excuse me. So we'll let this go back up to the top here. And then we'll look for the sell setup. Don't put it now. I'm just putting it now because I'm moving forward with the webinar, but you should wait for it to go back up and then put it. Canadian. We can go with the buy. We can make an assumption this running flat is over. I'm not sure it is, but we can go with the buy and see what happens from here, right? It actually came back all the way to the bottom. So this might even be a bigger correction here. It didn't break the low, so this buy is a little risky because it didn't break the low, but we can take it and see, try to manage for break even. Make sure you get out for break even. If it doesn't, if it just breaks, it stop and start to pull back. Still looks good. Right, then it could be if this is over, then it totally goes. See this one, how deep they pull back, but this was the correction. We're not expecting another correction here. CAD Swiss, nothing. Wait for either deeper correction before you sell or buy setups. Oh, we still have to get this. So wait for the buy setup. Wait for a buy setup there. There is no sell at the bottom there right now. Right, we have to wait for either a correction, a deeper correction to sell, or wait for it to go up totally. Swiss yen, we don't have anything. This one is still at the top. This is the only one that didn't give us the pullback. It's still at the top and it's making some kind of a channel. At the top, remember what happened to the last channel at the top? I actually show you where you put your entry order, wait for it to drop. Now this is a much bigger channel. So your entry order can go here if you want. Wait for the sudden drop. Always look for a sell from the top. Not from the bottom, from the top of it. So, or out of the channel. We still haven't got this. We got it in the pound, we got it in New Zealand, we got it in CAD yen, we got it in, I think which other yen? Some other yen pair we have, Aussie yen pair, we have half of it. Still half of it. This one has never got anything of it. So this drop is in the making. You don't want to miss it. It will happen, right? We know it's going to happen. If all of them already give us that sharp move down, this should give us to complete that running flat. And then go. Natural gas. Okay, it's coming down a little. This big move will happen, but it's consolidating in the middle here, which is never a good thing to see, because that means two things right now. This is going to come back here one more. How deep, we don't know. If it just breaks the low and turn, that's a buy setup. If it comes much deeper here, wait for it to go back up, make a new low, and then the upside. The upside will happen is only whether we get a flat first or whether we take off from there. So the sell in here is there's a sell setup. It's not a great sell setup. You have to be very careful because it could just tag you and then start going up. If that happens, we'll be going for the buy setup. So I think we should take off the sell. I just showing some traders what to do with it, but I don't like the sell setup because remember we're coming from the low. Even if this is an expanding flat, which I don't think it is. We'll probably put this as part of this one here eventually. This one is part of that correction there. That would probably make more sense. Right, then this is just the start of the upside. Could this be the equivalent of this piece here? Can we put these two as a running flat? This one is way too short. So let it go back up one more. One more up would make more sense. US oil, any flag sell. This is not a flag as yet. This is not a full correction. It has to go back up. Be careful. If you're putting your entry under a low, you want to be really careful. I prefer we get a flat. And if you're putting an entry there, you have to be careful with a bigger stop because I prefer this go back up there, make a flat. And now we get that trade. So probably let it go back up first and then go, or let it make a flag under this low. This one over here was a small trade area. Last week, we were trying to sell this, that running flat, right? That was the entry there, that if this is a running flat, it's going to think instead it go back up. So it's not a running flat, which means that this could be the running flat or the flat for downside. S&P 500. Okay, we broke the low, so we can go with this, and there's a good chance we're going back to the top. There's a very good chance that from this point, this consolidation here goes right back to the top there. So wait for it to go up, wait for a flag, take the trade to the top. See this flag here? Take that trade to the top. So we'll wait for this to happen and take this trade to the top. Let's see if we get it. Can it go down lower? Let it break out of the structure and make a flag. Don't sell inside of it. We saw that this morning, and so like, don't sell it inside. Wait. Same here. This could even come a little lower before they go. This is the only one we said, wait for a flag and then sell. Right? Wait for this to make a flag here. I don't know if we got, I don't see the flag here. If this makes a flag here, then we sell. Under the low, makes a flag, then we sell. So we broke out of that structure. Wait for this to make a flag here to confirm at least one more impulse down. And then we'll take this possible channel off. Now this is sharp. If you look at it this way, right? This is really sharp. Correction, drop, correction, drop. I think a sharp move is in play. So I wouldn't be surprised if they actually go back up to the top there from here. Literally just give us a spike to the top there and then start to drop. This would be a perfect sell setup here. Get a flag there, sell it. Can it go back up to the top? Yeah, possible. I don't think it's ready. We'll wait for a flag above the top and then buy. Nifty. Consolidating. So we'll see which way. Right now it's a running flat for downside. If you get a flag here, a smaller flag here, we can go for the sell. If not, put an entry under the low, put a stop here, and hope that this drops through the bottom. If it just comes down, start to go back up, close the trade, go for the buy. D30. Nothing here. We wanted to break this top and then look for the sell. So that was a sell last week. Let me take it off. So wait for a flag here and then one more. Once we break that top, you can look for a sell setup. What if we get a flag here? It's kind of iffish, but we can take the trade. It's not the best setup if you get a flag here because now we didn't break that up. So this leaves open possibility for a flat and one more up or total drop. We'll take the trade and manage it. Upside, let it break the top first. D40 should be the same thing. Okay, Tesla is still at the bottom here. So either they consolidate here and you sell, or they reverse and we get a buy setup. We don't have any setup yet, not for the buy, not for the sell. Bitcoin, a little more downside. We're going for the bigger correction. I think I already mentioned that. So two corrections we're looking at. We're looking at this one, likelihood for them to come here and then go back up, right? Making something like this. And then go back up. That would be a running flat if we get that. Or drop more, break the low, and then go back up. So that's not a perfect low there. I'll put the line where the low is. So we either drop and break it. So we're looking at two. This is a possible running flat here. And then go back up. Or they come here and then go back up. That's a sell setup. If you can sell it, that's a sell setup there. There's a flag. That's a perfect flag for a sell setup. Let's go. ETH. Well, kind of consolidating, not a perfect, but a flag for a sell setup. We did break this top, so let's see if it's going back down. Yeah. Two ways you're going to look at this now. Again, the same thing. You're looking for this move down, and then one more up, or break the low, and then up. This would be a running flat if that happens. Come here, come back down, and then up. Or if they drop totally, we'll figure out that this is all a correction. And this goes up totally from here, right? So this is 1, 2, 3, break the low. Sorry, in that case, break the low and then go back up. I hope they break the low because that confirms the upside first. We can start buying. But if they don't break the low and they make a running flat turn to the upside, we'll still look for buy sell. Right now, it's a sell setup. XRP. Yeah, the power of wave analysis. Again, I'm 99% sure this is going to drop one more. Now, when it comes to this level here, that is when you can ask me, what if this is the flat and we go back up one more? And that's a very valid question if you look at it that way, right? What if this is a 1, 2, 3? This is a 1, 2, 3. And all of this here is just a big correction, right? With an expanding flat in the middle, whatever, however you want to look at it, right? Or even from this point, if you take it as a 1, 2, 3, that's just a correction. They come back about this level, go back to the top and then drop. Yep, that's possible. Better yet, I want them to break the low and then go back up. So which is it going to be? Doesn't matter to me. Once it comes in this range, here, and we get a buy setup, that would be the time to start buying back, right? We'll buy back because once you do that, you can go up. So if the first buy didn't go, if it doesn't break the low, but give a buy setup and the first buy doesn't go, no problem. You get out, you wait for the second buy. If you're an investor, as my good friend said in the live sessions that he's an investor, then he would have saved a ton of money. Actually, if you listen to me and close his trades here and put an entry to buy there, now his price is there. This is all the money he would have made. And considering he had $500,000 invested in it, that's a lot of money. That's more than my course cost, right? So he should consider taking the course. I told him that then, and I'm repeating the same thing. You add enough money to take the course and have some extra money to take a visit to Dubai, and let's have coffee, and you will still have enough money remaining in your pocket if you're an investor in this, right? You could have done all that stuff. Buy me a free coffee in Dubai and still have extra money in your pocket. Come on, dude, where are you? Sure, send me a Skype message. I asked you to send me a Skype message. You didn't. Send me a Skype message. Let's have this conversation as to why you should get in and get out back. And you can buy it. Better yet, if it drop at the bottom here now, you can buy me a ticket to go visit you. See how the world is going to be a better place? So come up, let's learn some wave analysis. This same thing, this actually looks upside in the shorter term frame, right? You see this 1, 2, 3 here, come back here, it breaks this low. There's a good chance you get one more spike here. Where would that lead us? Let's see in the bigger picture of things, where would that lead us? That could be upside. Interestingly, this one could be upside because all I have is this and this. I don't have a lot of information here. This is all information. This thing could go up. This could become the B part of it, the core correction. So let's take a look at it again. It's going down. This is very corrective, so it might break the low. Let it break the low and then look for the upside. All right, you're in a sideways move here. Let it go break the low. Or let this come break this low and then look for the buy. Because this could be a flat. This here could be a flat, like I said. This could be 1, 2, 3, and then go right back up. So let it come break this low, then look for a buy setup here, and we'll take that trade to the upside. Keep your eyes on that one. ADA, it's coming down. Now we'll have to look at this two ways. This could be just a running flat by itself here. And go back up one more, then drop. Or this one drop to the bottom, and we'll go with an expanding flat in here. Break the low and then go back up. So which is it? You wouldn't know until you get there and drop lower or turn, right? I think both of them are possible, so we'll keep that open. LTC? Okay, coming down, I think this is pretty clear. You see this line and you know what my intentions is. It's coming down here. Now, when it gets here, this is where we become tricky. And we didn't break this top, so when it gets here, do we go back up one more? See this one, 1, 2, 3, they went back. Very, very high probability we're going back up one more when it comes to this level here. So there's a drop, a sell, and then probably buy to go back up. We're still pretty flat, right? This thing is pretty flat, especially since it's come back so deep and go back up. So in the daily, you'll be looking at that like a really, really flat move. But can they start a move like that so slow to the upside? Well, they did that before here. See, this move was so slow, and then this one was pull back, pull back. Look at this deep pullback. That's probably some kind of an expanding flat there. And they still went up. So it can pull back here, finish this flat, and then literally do that. Now, I'm not saying it's going to do that. I'm saying first it has to come to break this top. That is what my forecast will give me. But we can't exclude the possibilities that they do that. So when it comes to the bottom here and give us a buy setup, we'll take the trade. And let's see where that takes us. So, okay, guys, I think I will leave it there. We don't have to go through all of them because the webinar is going to be pretty long. Again, if you would like to see all of that 2 times a day, every single day for the next 2 months for a nominal fee of a coffee a day, and then I will return you that coffee if you decide to continue. That coffee will be returned to you. So thank you very much for your patience. Thank you for listening to this to the end. I hope you enjoy it. You didn't want no, I didn't know I was going to come live. By the way, somebody said I didn't want it to come live. So this is a complimentary for you. I didn't expect to do this. We decide to save some time and not post it. We will normally do it and post it. Also, we invited the group from Discord. They probably have more than 1,000 traders there now. So every now and then I will invite them and we'll do it live. You stay with the if you put all, I think you should get a notification if you set up your notification. You will get notification when I go live. Okay, somebody said, I'm here. Why should I trust in wave in the Elliott wave? What I'm doing is not Elliott wave. What I'm doing is called wave analysis. It's something different from Elliott wave. It's structurally different. It derives from Elliott wave. They're using the same theory that the chart moves in waves, right? But the way we look at patterns is different from the way Elliott wavers look at patterns. The way the basic concept that is different from us is that what we do is we allow the patterns to form. We look for all the variations and we said, if this, then this. The way Elliott wavers do is they label it and they said, okay, we have a flat here, we must have a triangle here, and we have this is an impulse, it has to have 5 waves in it, this one has to have 3 waves. And we're like, no, the market doesn't have to do anything for you. As a matter of fact, the market is not making any patterns for anyone. The market is doing what it's doing. What we're doing is trying to identify a pattern within that market. Now, if you can clearly identify the pattern, good for you. You're going to make money. If you cannot clearly identify the pattern, then you have a problem. Now, what we do is try our best to identify those patterns. And I don't think there is any group better in doing that than our group. And I mean our group, not just me, but all the traders in the group who can do it. There's nowhere else you're going to get better people to do it than we do it. Well, this method I created, so it's going to be hard to find somebody better than me doing it. And then my traders, a lot of them are very good at doing it. So, and if you look at anybody with wave analysis out there, they probably got it from. So, thank you. Have a great day. Trade with care today. Trade with care all week. If you join us before the end of the month, you will get 2 months to decide your mind. All right? Send me a Skype message. The Skype is in the description. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys. Thanks to my traders as well. I'll see all of you in the trading room later. And then we have the New York session.